Alright, well, I guess this is my life now. I'm forced to make movie trailer dissections forever. But at least this one is for the long-awaited Spider-Man 3-2. Alright, here's what we know so far. Posted on Twitter by Fandango reporter Eric Davis, there was an official synopsis and cast list apparently sent out by Sony. Here's what it says.
For the first time in the cinematic history of Spider-Man, our friendly neighborhood hero is unmasked and no longer able to separate his normal life from the stakes of being a superhero. When he asks for help from Doctor Strange, the stakes become even more dangerous, forcing him to discover what it truly means to be Spider-Man.
And there's also a cast list from everybody you'd expect to be from the core cast. Alright, now here are my expectations for the plot based on this trailer, the numerous reports I've been reading about for the past year, and my own thoughts. No Way Home picks up immediately after Far From Home, and takes place over the course of a few months. Far From Home was like a summer vacation or something, so it was at least August at the latest, and No Way Home gets to at least October or December. Anyway, Peter is claimed to be a murderer. He freaks out. The police open a manhunt after him. He freaks out, goes into hiding, but eventually turns himself in and shows the police that it's like the whole, he could leave anytime he wants. He doesn't have to be here. It's like that scene from Man of Steel. Somehow, it comes out that Mysterio was lying about it the whole time. J. Jonah Jameson is probably going to come on and make a not even a half-hearted apology, just an empty-hearted apology, and then rant and rave about how Spider-Man is still definitely a menace. And maybe Happy Hogan or someone does some more detective work, because he seems to like doing that. I don't know, I doubt it'll be very important how the truth comes out, just that it does. So now Peter is a famous teenage celebrity. Everybody either loves him, or still thinks that he's a menace. This goes on until he gets the idea to go to Stephen Strange, and ends up breaking the multiverse. There are many ideas on how the villains get to the MCU. The most commonly spoken one seems to be that they are the exact same characters that we saw in their respective films, but they just got plucked out of their universe before dying, or somehow after dying as sort of like some sort of kind of multiversal reincarnation, or the idea I prefer, which is that these villains in the film are from universes that are very similar to the ones from the movies, but the only difference is that they either killed or just defeated their respective Spideys and lived. And then Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield reprising their roles as Spider-Man and Spider-Man are from the actual film universes that we have seen. They're from separate universes, but they're essentially the same. And so, without further ado, let's dive right into this frame by frame. The trailer opens on MJ and Peter chilling out on some rooftop. Maybe it's their schools, I can't really tell. As MJ reads a newspaper, and this happens after the world finds out Peter is Spider-Man based on what he's talking about in the articles and everything. Not much is really going on here aside from a piece of graffiti in the background that says Ditko, referencing the one and only Steve Ditko, co-creator of Spider-Man and Doctor Strange. The strangest part of this whole thing is that print media is somehow still not dead in the MCU. It's like 2024 or 2025 at this point. The issue of the New York Post that MJ is reading is about Spider-Minions, and it says Peter Parker and something. I think it starts with an H, so I can't really tell. Maybe Peter Parker and Happy? Who knows? Something that starts with an H. There's also a picture of Peter puppeteering two people around. I can't really make out who it is. Might be Mysterio, might be Ned, might be Happy. Who knows? Can't tell. It's too low resolution. And there's some writing on the bottom too, but it's too blurry. On the back page, it says, "Pray for New York" for some reason. Who knows what that means? Could be about anything, probably sports. The image on the back kind of looks like Silver Surfer, but that definitely is not the case. Maybe it's Spider-Man, or a statue of him, or some other superhero, or it's like a baseball player, or a bowler. That looks like a bowling stance. This scene immediately cuts to the beginning of the swinging away through the madness of J. Jonah Jameson's broadcast montage, I guess, which is, at the beginning of the film. Unless there's like, I don't know, a cold opening that reveals how the villains got to the universe, if in case they didn't come there when, Peter fucked up the multiverse and they were there before. Cut to Peter Parker in a lone office of the NYPD. Two men walk in, one of which is possibly Matthew Murdock. It is possible, I guess, especially since there was apparently a set leak of something that looked like the Kingpin's penthouse. I'm really hoping that Daredevil is in this movie, but my hope dies every day that passes. Peter rocks one of his trademark nerdy gag shirts, reading, "The physics is theoretical, but the fun is real," which is like a nice commentary on people who always ask dumb questions about the physics of superhero movies. And it also looks like he's wearing pajama pants. Maybe the police were hunting him down and like snatched him up while he was sleeping somewhere, or they came in with a warrant to his house. It's odd that they just gave him this big glass office. It sort of seems like they might be showing him some respect because, he's Spider-Man? I don't know, maybe one of these cops is George Stacy. It's just odd that they don't have him in like an actual cell. It's just this fucking one room in the middle of the bullpen. Because we see interrogation rooms later. We see those with Ned and Aunt May. So why wouldn't they stick him in there? This agent in the office is from the Department of Damage Control, or the DODC. Made its first appearance in Spider-Man Homecoming. You can kind of make out the little damage control insignia on his arm patch when he turns. Here are the almighty hairy arms that everyone says belongs to Charlie Cox, the actor who portrayed Matt Murdock, aka Daredevil, in Netflix's Daredevil. Here's the New York skyline, missing the Avengers Tower for some reason. I think that is Peter's school. It's like Midtown. It's not Midtown High, it's Midtown Science and some other shit. And I also can't really see much of anything of interest in the scene of MJ in her room. She has some like fairy lights, looks like one of those light up moons, a whole bunch of books, and just some like sketches of her friends or just random people. This scene of Peter lying on the sofa on his phone is kind of odd. I can't really tell where he is exactly. The table or whatever that is in the background looks a bit too modern to be at his new apartment that he and Aunt May live in. Maybe he's like hiding out somewhere. Maybe he's being kept somewhere by damage control / SHIELD / the police for like his own safety. Maybe it's a new apartment. I don't know. A massive crowd of supporters and protesters surrounds the school as Peter and his classmates make their way to school. There's a bunch of signs calling Peter a menace and the devil. Mephisto. This movie is taking a very liberal approach to One More Day and One Moment in Time, which, if you don't know, are two comics that deal with Peter selling his fucking marriage to Mary Jane to the literal devil to save his 140-year-old dying aunt from dying and make the world forget he's Spider-Man. My favorite part of this trailer is that Flash has dyed his hair blonde, and he must take this revelation pretty hard since he's such a fan of Spider-Man, but he just loves to make fun of Penis Parker. I look forward to seeing his interaction with Peter throughout this film. A couple of news choppers hovering about a bridge following Spider-Man, one of which is WYPE, or WIPE. I don't know what that means, but the writing on the side is just New York News Channel 2, so it's a bit disappointing that they aren't using the WHIH World News Network from previous MCU media. This scene must also happen fairly early in the film, since Peter and MJ are still wearing their clothes Far From Home ending. Next clip is what happens if a teenage celebrity ever attends a public school. Two things to make note of. One, I love this girl's hair, that's awesome. And two, Betty Brant is still on the school news team because she's reporting from the crowds of news and paparazzi outside. Peter and Aunt May watch J. Jonah Jameson's broadcast from their new apartment. This could be the same day as the big reveal since JJ's background is a similar color green. Ned and Aunt May in some actual interrogation rooms like I mentioned earlier. A time skip that lands us around Halloween, as seen from the spooky decorations. This business that sells milkshakes for $3 could be Delmar's Deli and Grill. That's the secondary establishment opened by Delmar, the deli owner from Spider-Man Homecoming, after his first place got blown the fuck up. I can't remember if it actually appears in Far From Home, but it definitely does in a deleted scene. Some little witch/warlock lights that look suspiciously a lot like Stephen Strange inspire Peter to go find him. Are these real decorations? I highly doubt it, but if they are, that's some crazy coincidence. And if they aren't, I fully expect Disney to sell them. The Sanctum Sanctorum. The skylight seems to be fixed, but that might just be a magical facade, because it's filled with snow. How? Why? Your magic. Fix it. Unless it isn't from the hole, but some other magical adventure that has gone awry inside and caused a whole bunch of snow to just show up. Also, it looks like they hired another assistant to shovel, because that definitely is not Wong. Steven's outfit is also amazing. I just love that he's rocking a Columbia University sweatshirt with the Cloak of Levitation, and he has this "Oh, for Fox's sake" coffee mug. Peter runs around in this black and gold suit that he seemingly acquires from Doctor Strange. He's running through a homeless shelter. There was a leak a couple months ago that Aunt May is going to be opening up the Feast program, or that she at least runs it / works with it. You're probably most familiar with Feast from the Spider-Man PS4, PS5 game, and Peter's confusion and this man pointing to stage right seems to infer that he's chasing after someone or something. This scene from the West 33rd Street sign is from the very beginning of the film again. This is where Peter and MJ were when the Jameson broadcast aired at the end of Far From Home. I'm not sure about this section. It's like some sort of ruins. I don't know what the hell this would be. Maybe it's somewhere under / inside the sanctum. There's a scene where Steven and Peter head down some stairs, so I'm thinking it's like a subfloor. Wong is on his way to go fight the Abomination in Shang-Chi, so he and Steven some money because they don't have real jobs. Steven's little magical table includes some like crystals, various magical plants, a little elephant, owl, and a ram, and then he pours a little tincture of some sort of glowing liquid inside of a bowl. Then he does his magic shit. I thought about attempting to figure out if these glyphs are anything that can be translated, but I don't think they are, and if they are, I just can't be bothered to do that. Peter, being a dumbass teenager, ruins everything by freaking out over something that can easily be solved, and causes this out-of-time, out-of-reality room to explode into a vast starry field that it's situated in. And it kind of looks like where Immortus's castle from Loki was hanging out. We get some glimpses of the universe and the multiverse itself fracturing apart. It looks pretty cool. Very technicolor. And in this section, there's like the slightest hint of something in the center. It might be a symbol, or maybe like an eye or a machine. Doctor Strange pulls all the magic back into a little atom ball, and then we see Peter in his red and black suit running through some fractal realities, similar to the scenes from Doctor Strange. I think this is the mirror dimension, if I remember correctly. It's been a while since I watched Doctor Strange, but didn't the mirror dimension act like this? Like everything was fucking moving around and shit? There's also this scene of Peter falling through what looks like a broken mirror, so I think that's kind of obvious that it is the mirror dimension. Either he's coming into it, or more likely falling out, and possibly into another reality, followed by Doctor Strange. Maybe the fabric of reality starts tearing itself apart, and Doctor Strange, in an attempt to stop it, tries to like imprison it all inside of the mirror dimension, but you know, that doesn't work, obviously. Here we go, baby. This is Sandman and Electro attacking some police officers. Where at? Not sure. First I thought it was Midtown School, due to the Daily Bugle and the other news van, but the exterior doesn't quite match. And that lamppost right there, I have no idea what that lamppost is. I spent about like 5 or 10 minutes on Google looking up various light and lampposts, trying to figure out what the fuck this one is, to no avail. This is clearly Electro shooting his lightning because he's yellow now, not blue. Another reason why I believe that he is from a similar yet different universe, and Sandman creating a sandstorm. And you might be able to see a figure on the top of this facade right here. I'm not quite sure. It kind of looks like a person. Next, we get the weirdest scene. Spider-Man and Strange riding a subway train through the desert. Could have something to do with the fight from Spider-Man 2, not really sure. It's not like New York subways are ever really updated. Also, Strange seems to be protecting Peter from something by making these little, like a little shield of train cars. And there's another scene of Peter and Strange in the dark and spooky ruins. Seemingly, this happens after they get back to reality. Doctor Strange forces Peter to astral project out of his body as he holds a magical box. That's a squirrel! And a dog! There's a squirrel and a dog in this one! Anyway, sorry. This seemingly takes place after the multiversal crack, because Peter's wearing the same outfit, but it might happen just before the mirror dimension sequence. Maybe they get into some sort of chase scene, or like Peter tries to do something with the box, tries to take it, I don't know. This is a weird one. So Peter is just rocking his Iron Spider armor for some reason. Does he just constantly have this on since it's like the nanites or whatever? Do his other suits get messed up and he switches to this? It's clearly the same highway scene that we see at different periods of this trailer, some sort of SWAT or armed group moves in on Happy after he's crashed into some building. The lighting is similar to the scene with Electro and Sandman, so maybe it's the same place. Maybe it's the Oscorp headquarters. Peter Parker getting attacked by none other than the Lizard? This has got to happen almost immediately after he and Strange come back, so I wouldn't be surprised if this is all that we see of the Lizard in the film. Like, they're probably gonna, come back to reality. Strange realizes something went wrong. He explains it to Peter. Peter, he's just sitting there listening, and then suddenly in the background you see something silhouetted moving, and then it runs and attacks Peter. But, Strange stops it with his magical shield, and Peter's like, "Oi, Doctor Strange, what's that?" And Strange is like, "Oh, you fucked up, man. This thing shouldn't be here. This should be in that other bad Spider-Man film." And then Strange locks up the Lizard in his multiversal magical jail, or sends him back to his universe, or just kills him. Next scene may look like an explosion caused by lightning, but it's definitely Sandman constituting himself in front of Spider-Man, possibly saving his life from Electro. I wouldn't be surprised. Sandman is, renowned for flip-flopping between being a bad guy and a good guy. And now the moment we've all been waiting for. The pumpkin bomb. Not much to say about this, other than I hope that we see some skeletons fall apart from its disintegration properties. The interesting part is that this is already after some completely different battle or attack has taken place. So I think that, maybe Peter's in a convoy, or he's in that single SUV, and then the Sinister Six attacks, or maybe some of them do, and then Goblin shows up at the tail end of it. Maybe Goblin has already been in this universe, and he sees the attack go down, and he's like, "Oh shit, I'll join these motherfuckers." Here's that black SUV that is definitely going to have some interesting scenes, because one, the door's missing, almost like whoever was in the back had superpowers and was trying to escape in a hurry, or was trying to get in a hurry and rescue whoever's inside. Two, it's been rear-ended, meaning either someone purposely hit the back, or something appeared in front of it, causing it to stop suddenly. And three, it's right in front of those water barrels where Peter activates the Iron Spider suit. Also interesting is that there are no characters at all here. I'm assuming this means they'll add them at a later point. And also take note of the severe damage done to the concrete barrier leading into the river. And we get another scene at the highway of the traffic stopped, but this time Peter is in a fancy suit and speaks to Paula Newsome. All that I've seen from discussions online is that she's playing the mother of Miles Morales, which I think is because she's the only black woman with any significance in this trailer who isn't Zendaya. But I could see that happening, I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe she's in charge of Feast, and Peter is joining her on some ride, and he sees shit going down further down the highway, so he gets out and he's like, you gotta go! And finally, the big shebang. Dr. Otto Octavius, back in the flesh. He might have been what caused that side section of the bridge to be destroyed, assuming that these are even remotely similar scenes. Don't forget, we still haven't seen Andrew Garfield or Tobey Maguire, and definitely don't forget that Marvel is known for making additions to trailers that will never happen in the film. There's also the fact that he says, "Hello, Peter." How would he know that the MCU Peter is Peter Parker? I mean, unless he's wearing the Spider-Man suit, I guess. But I believe he's speaking directly to Tobey Maguire. Maybe that's why there aren't any people on that bridge, because they're gonna add the 3 Spider-Men to it at a later point, and they don't want to give that section away yet. And another interesting note, I know I've said that a lot, is that his sunglasses are the same that he wears during the bank robbery scene from Spider-Man 2, which, if I remember correctly, they get destroyed during that fight. And during the climax of Spider-Man 2, he wears some goggles. This just lends more credence to the theory that he's either plucked out of his universe earlier than expected, thus explaining why he's villainous, because at the end of that film, he's sort of he realizes his wrongs and sacrifices himself, blah blah blah. Or my theory, which is that he's from a universe where he defeats Spider-Man. And the final scene is Peter atop that same black SUV. This time, they're closer to the edge of the bridge, and the SUV doesn't seem to have been damaged yet. Paula Newsome and her driver are still inside, and everybody else is fleeing from whatever devastation is coming their way, possibly the Rhino. And that's the trailer. But that's not the end of this video. This next bit is a secret, so don't go around telling anybody. And if Marvel or Disney or Sony watches this, I got these from a friend. Boom! Jamie Foxx as Electro in his weird little electrician outfit. Boom, another shot of Alfred Molina as Doc Ock, in case you were wondering. Boom, a shot of Willem Dafoe as Norman Osborn, aka the Green Goblin. He looks to be wearing some kind of cloak, so they might be going in the Ultimate Marvel route in terms of his costume. I doubt he'll actually be turning into a giant goblin man, but I think he will be wearing something else over his armor. A few other notes I'd like to discuss are some rumors I read about a couple months ago. Take these with a huge grain of salt, a grain so big it'll crush you. Allegedly, Norman Osborn of another universe is testing with some kind of multiversal travel, and that's how he ends up in the MCU. He finds and then replaces the MCU version of Norman and takes over Oscorp. Then once the other members of the Sinister Six start showing up, he, begins working with them. It is possible, and I do quite like that idea. I just love the idea of a multiversal Sinister Six in general, but I don't know if that still fits with what we've seen in this trailer. Also, that's kind of the storyline from Into the Spider-Verse. Another rumor is that, be prepared, be very prepared, skip ahead to this point if you don't want to hear this, and possibly get spoiled. Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker is going to die. He's probably gonna, I don't know how true this is, but I reckon he's probably going to sacrifice himself in some way to save the other Peters and the worlds. If this does happen, I imagine that the relationship between Maguire and Holland will be similar to that of Miles and Peter B. Parker from Into the Spider-Verse. Maguire has been at this for longer and, takes Peter under his web wing, while Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker will sort of act as an older brother to Tom Holland's. I also expect Maguire's Peter Parker to tell Holland's Peter Parker, with great power comes great responsibility, sometime before he dies. And, he's probably going to be teaching him valuable lessons on superheroics and all that stuff. I mean, just look at the last sentence from the synopsis. It says, forcing him, referencing Tom Holland's Peter Parker, to discover what it truly means to be Spider-Man. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave it a like and comment below for any interesting theories you have, and tell me what you expect from this film. What'd you think of the trailer? Was it awesome? Did you disappointed? Do you fucking hate it? Let me know. Drive that engagement up, baby. Check out some of my other comic book related videos if you want to go back and watch my Suicide Squad trailer dissections and see what I got right and what I got wrong. You can do that too. I will see you next time. Bye.